Everybody, welcome back to the channel. And tonight, well, we're going to have a conversation, well, about what's going on in Los Angeles and, well, some mindset that needs to happen. Changes, I think, need to happen. So I'll be right back with you. So again, welcome back, everybody. And well, we've had some major things happening in the world when it comes to weather, when it comes to, well, even man-made stuff, like what's going on in Ukraine. But let's talk about the weather, okay? Something we can easily sort of get our mind around when it comes to, where we live and this kind of stuff. But before we get on with that, I'd appreciate you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed. And if you have already subscribed, I really appreciate it, and I thank you. Looking forward to building this channel a little bit more. I need all your help. Don't forget to share with your friends and your enemies. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Look forward to reading what you got to say. And if you would like to participate in donations, this kind of stuff, I'll leave a link down below for my PayPal channel. You can always do that also. It'd be appreciated because I use that to, to help me out when it comes to my business and growing my channel. I don't do anything else with it but that. But anyway, I'd really appreciate it. And I thank those of you who have already done so. Anyway, let's get on with this. So, hasn't been too long ago, we had the hurricane that hit Florida. We had the storms that hit the Carolinas and the Mountain Appalachians. And now the fire that has just happened and is going on currently in Los Angeles. Well, I keep hearing conversations with reporters of people saying, well, you know what? We got the alarm. First of all, let's just go this way. First of all, people know that this is the season for hurricanes. They know this is the season for wildfires in California. They know this kind of stuff, okay? And what I keep hearing are people who are not at all prepared. They don't even have their mind around it, okay? They live in these really fancy neighborhoods, and congratulations. I'm glad you are able to afford these kind of great places to live, and as you can see, the government is not there to help you. In fact, the government barely cares about you unless it comes to taxing you, taking your money from you, and getting your vote. That is it. That's the only thing the government cares about. They don't care about coming to your aid. Now, I say this because we're talking about the current government, not the government coming up, okay? We'll have to see what happens with the government coming up. I hope that the Republicans do better, but the Democrats have never done better. They've never managed to get their thumb out, okay? Because they don't care. They only care about what I just said, okay? You paying taxes so they can blow your money, they can do other stuff with your money instead of putting on what they need, okay? And that is, your safety, your security, this kind of stuff, But I keep hearing people talking about, they weren't prepared. They had to go home and throw a bunch of stuff into bags, and I only got 2 pair of jeans and 2 shirts with me, and then we jumped in the car or we left, and I think it was Gutenberg, I think it was the name of the actor who came out of a comedy from the 80s and 90s. I think it was the 80s. Steve Gutenberg, I think it was. He was telling people, hey, listen, leave your keys in your car, at least so we can get them out of the way so we don't have problems for the firefighters when they come in. They're trying to get in here, but the streets are all blocked up. These people don't even care, they're not, their heads aren't in it, First of all, why would you leave your car? Why don't you just drive out your car? And if you can't take your car, leave the keys in, like he said, so people can park them, can move them. Okay, because the fire department, they're going to come in, they're going to ram them, they're going to break them, they're going to push them up on the sidewalks, they're going to do all kinds of stuff to it, okay? And your houses, well, it's going to be more difficult for them to get to your house to try to save it, or people who just aren't able to get out of there. But these people I keep hearing about just are not ready. They don't have run bags. They don't have bug out bags. They don't have any kind of preparation. I mean, they didn't already, knowing that this is the season, sort of put some gear together, you know. They don't have a bunch of water and food with them built up already. And I just don't understand this. I don't understand this, okay? I hate having to kind of have this conversation, but it keeps, you know, repeating itself and repeating itself and repeating itself, okay? We keep hearing the same stories, the same stuff, okay? People just are not preparing. They're not ready. They don't, you know, I don't know all the rules and all that's going on in California. Why wouldn't you, you know, have your sprinklers on your house, or why don't they come up with a program where they have these big sprinklers that they can just, you know, do stuff like that? You know, I don't know all the stuff about it. You know, I grew up, we always had plenty of hoses around the house, and and in the summertime when it gets really hot, if we were to have some fire, we were ready for it. You know, in the family, we had plenty of hoses. We had our well. You know, we had the city water, and we were ready to put out whatever we had to. You know, and so I don't understand why, you know, people aren't, you know, thinking a little bit better about this kind of stuff. You know, why are they so dependent on the government? And we keep seeing this. You know, honestly, you look at what happened in the South. You look at what happened on the East Coast, the southern part of the East Coast. You know, people, they were devastated. You know, this was something that happened so quickly. They had no time to be ready for it, okay, to prepare for it. This was a massive storm that just wiped out and killed so many people, you know. And so it's a matter of, you know, how do you prepare for that? You know, how do you prepare for something falling out of the sky and just landing on your house? You know, where in California, the people, they know this is that kind of season. They know what to be prepared for. You know, and you know, they're just not prepared for it whatsoever. You know, and especially the state. The state's not prepared for it. The government, the local government, like I said, they're not prepared for it. They don't. You know, it's like when I first got to Switzerland. Okay, and I think it's what you think of the White Mountains, you think of the snow, you think of the heavy winters, and they hadn't had them for many years. And this was like in the 90s, the late 90s, they hadn't had a really big heavy winter. So Geneva, of all places where I first moved to when I got to Switzerland, had a heavy winter just before the New Year's. And when we got here, which was at the 2nd of January 1996, there were still remnants of you know, foot of snow on the ground, okay? And that winter was very icy, very cold. And what you do is you get a lot of rain during the day, and at night it would all freeze over. So if you were in the city, you were really screwed if you didn't have winter tires on, which here is by law. By the 1st of October, you have to have winter tires on your car, you know. But you'd be driving somewhere and someone would not be able to even move, you know, because they'd be slipping and sliding. And the streets were full of ice and full of snow. And why was that? Because the city sold off all of the gear that it had, because they felt like they didn't need it anymore. Global warming, and this big whole thing of global warming, you know, and you get this whole, you know, we're global cooling, you know. But everything has its thing. I mean, what's going to hit next with California is going to be, you know, are they ready for the mudslide season, the rainy season when that kicks in? And they start getting a lot of rain, and you have all the mudslides, because California's sort of doomed for all this kind of stuff. It's very seismic. It has lots of earthquakes. That's something else. They have an earthquake, but they'd really be screwed right now, you know. So there you go. Get your stuff together. Get your gear together. Get yourself ready. You know, get your mind around what there could possibly happen, or where you're at, where you live. You know, get to know where you live at. I mean, when I first got to Switzerland, I think it was 2000, probably early 2000, maybe the end of 1990s. We had an earthquake in Italy. I think it was in the 1990s, because this is where you had this beautiful church that had a lot of frescoes, this kind of stuff in it, that had fallen down and had been damaged. And but that earthquake was felt all up through the Alps, actually, and it was felt through here. I don't honestly, I never felt it when it hit, but you heard about it, and you heard about the damage that was done. Nothing like on the line what you see in Los Angeles, or on the line you see with Tokyo or something like that. It was not on the same level, of an earthquake up here, but it was a lot when it came to Italy, northern Italy. They got a whole lot of the earthquake and that kind of stuff. So anyway, you know, these things about where you live. If you're going to have a heavy winter, be ready. Have your car ready. Have your house ready. This kind of stuff. If you're at work and suddenly you have a major storm come in, are you going to be able to get back home? Do you have other routes, other possibilities to get back home? Have your car weatherized. Have the right kind of tires on your vehicle. If you're in an area that has heavy winters, man, get a four-wheel drive car, whatever it will be, and get some good winter tires on it. Make sure that they're ready. Have your car packed up. Have some extra blankets in there, some food, some kind of a stove, maybe some dehydrated food, like that. Some water, bottles of water in there. Put them in an igloo so that in the back of the car, so that the igloo will stay sort of relatively warm. Okay. And won't necessarily freeze. But make sure your car is filled up with fuel all the time. Okay. Make sure you've had some services done. Make sure your tire pressure, actually with the cold weather, your tire pressure will drop. I'm seeing that right now with my vehicle, which actually, I wouldn't know it if it wasn't for the technological side of it, where it tells me, it alerts me that my tire pressure has dropped. But the moment it starts warming up, it's going to raise up again, So this is some of the things you got to be aware of, okay? And know your routes, know alternate routes, how to get home, how to get to work, this kind of stuff like that. And understand that, okay, if you have a heavy snow coming in, which right now, it's snowing outside right now, we have a freeze coming in, be ready for that, okay, before you get on the road, before you take a trip. Be aware of the weather, okay? Terrain dictates, and weather is part of that terrain, okay? So be aware of that and be ready for it, okay? And dress properly, dress with the right clothes. You work in an office, so you have some nice swag shoes or something like that, this kind of stuff, but it has some extra clothes in the car ready for you in a duffel bag, and if you have a family, have all that stuff in the car ready, just in case. I remember when we had children, when the children came, I always had a bag, a backpack with everything I needed in it for the kids, okay? Always in the car, because they always going to need something. They want to drink something. They want to eat something. They change of clothes. My daughter used to get ill while we were driving. She had a good, she used to throw up, sadly, But these are things that you have to sort of be ready for, be aware of, and even for yourself, okay? And just be prepared. Follow the Boy Scout motto and be prepared, okay? And you should be fine. Educate yourself and get your kit ready. Get your family ready. Let them know, okay? And check on your neighbors, okay? If sometimes you may have some elderly neighbors that don't have family nearby. Check on them. Be a good neighbor. Be a good person. Do the right thing, okay? And just be ready, okay? And if you have a major storm coming up, there's a fear you might run out of electricity or run out of water, something like that. Fill your bathtub out, this kind of stuff. Have a generator ready. My mother has a system she just built in because she got sick and tired. She couldn't crank the generators anymore. My dad had gotten for her before he passed away. And so now she has a system that's it automatically kicks on when when there's a cut of electricity to the house because of a storm or something like that. And I'm from Louisiana originally, so this happens quite often, okay? And so she has a generator that kicks in, and it is a gas-operated generator. It uses butane, I think. And that way, you have a big, huge 1,000-gallon butane tank, or 2,000-gallon butane tank, and then it can run that generator just in case you were to need it. So when Katrina hit, my parents lost 5. This is when my dad got generators, because they lost 5 deep freezes full of frozen food, that kind of stuff. And but my dad but they were out helping people, and so that's what they did. So anyway. Get yourself prepared, not just in your brain, but get yourself physically prepared, okay? Get your gear together, get all your stuff together, so that way, when or if it is needed, you're ready as you can be. Now, can you be ready for everything? No, but what you can be is ready for the minimum. Get yourself a good 72-hour amount of kit ready, this kind of stuff. Hey, throw a tent in the car, if you're by yourself or if you're a family of 4, Get you a 4-man tent, throw in the car, also, because just in case you need to run, you can quickly jump in the car and run. And if you have to get away from built-up areas, you can go out in the middle of a field somewhere, or somewhere else, and just put a tent up, get your family dry and secure, have a little mini vacation, get the fire going, this kind of stuff. So learn all these things. Really quick experience before I turn this video off and give you guys a break from hearing my voice. Just a very simple thing. When I was my wife and I, when I was married, we had the kids were little, and we decided, hey, let's go out into the forest and build a fire and grill some hot dogs, some marshmallows for the kids, this kind of stuff. So we get out there, and I didn't have anything to start a fire with. So I do apologize. My cats are in here goofing off. So I learned a great lesson. Okay. And from then on out, and I had already had 10 years experience in the military, being prepared. My cars were normally always prepared, always had stuff in there I could get a fire going. But I'm not a smoker, so didn't always run around with some kind of flame, but now I do. So I'm always ready. And from that moment on, I was always ready, okay? And got my head back in the game, because I was a young father, and I needed to get myself sorted out. So I learned a big lesson from that. And luckily, it was just, okay, so we screwed up a meal. It wasn't like we just went back home and cooked in the fireplace, grilled in the fireplace at the house, instead of, enjoying our evening in the forest, in the mountains. Anyway, hope you guys got something from this video. I'd really look forward to hearing from what you have to say, your opinions, your experience, what you think about all this. And like I said, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends and your enemies. Don't forget to do that. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say, your comments, what your experience is, and how we can sort of grow this concept, and it help educate people. And hopefully, we can learn from these lessons. I see these images. I saw these images of the Appalachians, the mountains there, and all the people who lost their lives there. And then to see what has happened now in Los Angeles, which is very sad. I pray for these people, and I hope that they're able to recover, no matter what kind of wealth they have or what they think of the world. This kind of like that. I don't look at the D and the R. They're people, and they're going to need some help. They're going to need some support. Some of them more than others. What's crazy when you see all these people, they're running off to hotels, And I'm wondering, wow, I mean, we couldn't afford that when I was growing up, to go to a hotel. If we didn't go to family, then we had to go to, when we had plenty of family, that wasn't a problem. Then we had to go camping, So that's why. And in Louisiana, you had to run north, and when everybody else is trying to do it, and everybody's getting on the highway to try to escape a hurricane, it's not that easy. So have you some routes planned out. It's something I did do when I lived up in the mountains. I had several routes. I had 4 routes, five major routes, but 4 routes, and one of them including 2 of them actually using forest roads to get away from just in case, And even if we had a problem at the house, whether a robbery or a fire or an emergency or whatever, our kids learned a location in the forest that was hidden. They can go to, wait there, and just grab a blanket, go there and wait. And that's the first place we go and search for them. So, and not to wait on somebody else, but, help themselves out. So my kids learned that from a very early age, actually. It was part of the experience of them learning how to walk in the forest, from when they could start walking at 1 year old. We allowed them to walk and fall down, and they learned. And then we taught them where to go, just in case, Sometimes you can, if you have a house and if someone's a burglar, you can hide in the house, but it's best to get away from it, get somewhere else. And these are other lessons, other things we can talk about, and, have you a spot where you just educate, learn. Everybody knows that if something happens, this is where we go. We rendezvous here. Something you learn in the military, And then you point every 400 meters to a known spot, an obvious location, maybe a down tree. It may be a some kind of terrain feature, this kind of stuff. So sort of help you to navigate, and also to help you if you run into trouble further up the trail, further up the route, you can fall back to that and everybody rendezvous there. So you can do the same thing, as simple as that, with your family, a place you can go to rendezvous. So there you go. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming and watching my channel, watching this video. It's about 20 minutes. I do apologize. And I think it's a very important subject. I think a lot of people forget about it. And yeah, thanks a lot. You guys have a good one. Pray for those who are in need, especially right now. And if you don't pray, just think positive things about them, okay? And I thank all of you for coming to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Have a pleasant weekend. Have a good night.